Hey, how you doing? This is Kitch, and you are watching me play Factorio Inbetwixt. There's a couple. I haven't been doing a lot of these. I thought I would be doing more. I thought I'd have more time. But technically, I guess the last couple of episodes, there are a couple of episodes in the last couple that could have been in between episodes. Probably should have been in between episodes. Hindsight being 2020. But yeah, let's see. There was also this blinky thing over here that I wanted to take care of. And there's a lot of things that I want to basically take care of. And, we're due for one. So yeah, the first thing I would like to do is head down to our module facility. And actually, I want to grab some laser turrets too. Head down to our module facility and just kind of check up on things and see how it's going. Did we go? Guess not. Okay, we'll just we'll let everybody go first. I need to program it so this one always has the right of way. So yeah, we'll go down here. We'll see how things are going down there. Let's roll the intro, and I will see you shortly. All right, we've needed fast inserters there for a while. We finally got those in place. Looks like we're backed up on iron, which is a good situation to be in. Backed up on copper, another good situation to be in. I mean, it's not a good situation to be in, but in the state we are right now, well, we're backed up on everything. We should have like 1 million modules, except we don't. Because plastic, because no blue circuits, because it's all petroleum related. All right, we need to buff that up a bit. Let's see. Let's sneak through here and grab some modules. We have 31 speed modules, and I'm guessing 31 productivity? Yes. So at least it's producing consistently. We need more petroleum, though. So yeah, we could just start beaconing and moduling some of these things. Why get through thing, please? Why can I go through some of these but not through others? That is a question that I have. Can I not go through here? Go through there? Huh. Did that change? I feel like you used to could go through that. I am aware of Squeak Through's existence. It's not that big of a deal for me, and to sneak through things. Let's see. Let's make sure this is lined up. I want, yeah, something like that right there. It's a great mod. It's fine. I don't really see the walking through as I don't see the advantage that it gives being worth the disadvantage that it does. And the disadvantage is purely cosmetic, but it makes it where you throw down, it makes the hitboxes of everything smaller. So if you throw down big, large blueprints, you're going to get trees growing up in between stuff. And I don't like that. So yeah, yeah, let me get my head on straight here. We could just module and speed these guys right here, right? But we could probably run into a situation where light oil would back up. So I'm kind of splitting the difference here and putting some of these guys producing, but also being sure that we're catching let's see, let's move this guy down here. I think it would be a better use of his place. Yeah, so it's kind of balancing itself out a bit. At least, I hope. And speaking of stuff like that, I would like to at least put a couple of them down here on the heavy oil. Probably don't need the productivity so much as the speed. And this is not scientific. This is not something I'm calculating, by the way. I'm just kind of throwing some stuff in there to increase the petroleum. We're not going to get anywhere near anything ratio perfect until we get all the beacons and all the modules and everything, which is a ways off. But at least that should get everything producing again. And hopefully next time we come down here, we'll have even more modules. I've got some more modules. And a couple beacons. Just wondering if there wouldn't be anything down here that would be worth it just to throw some beacons down. I don't know, it seems silly. We did it up there. I'll just hold on to it for now. Let's throw some of these in here, so we'll have them down here, should we need to go and adjust things. Can we make some tanks? We can. Do we have some pumps? We should. Yeah, we do. Let's come up like here. Is this our stop? Yes. All right, so let's add another station. Okay, and we'll take the excess oil from that, put it into here, and we will call this pickup. Actually, we just want this to be pickup, just the same as the other oil stations, right? Pickup oil. All right, and this one should be the furthest away that has the most potential to have these tanks be full. Let's throw another pump here to make that a one-way valve so it doesn't backflow. All right, and since that's our third station, we need to go to the copper station and set some logic on that station in order to turn it off whenever it doesn't have enough. So that will make it where this oil train, if this one is on, if this one gets full, it'll turn itself on, so it will prioritize that one. And then if we put that same logic over here, this is the second closest, so it will go to that one if it's on. And then this one, is that further away? I think it is. So we can just leave this one on all the time, and then it'll go down there. And then if one of these kicks on, it'll run over there and get those. Otherwise, it'll travel down here. At least I think that's the way that will work. So we want to set you up where you 49K. Yeah. And that's named the same. All right, that should work. All right. right. So I think we're good for there for now. I want to do something about this up here. So let's move our train like right here. There's a spot. I want a rail line, basically going through the middle here. And let's see, just looking around, that's going to be a little bit too much on the bottom. I think right here we might be able to get through all of those areas. So, and it just so happens that it lines up between two power poles right there. These two power poles right here. So yeah, I'm going to take these guys out. Pull out the old rail book. Throw a T there. And yeah, let's start building off to the west. Yeah, and for now, I just want to make this as west as west goes. Or until we run into some other situation. I kind of want this to be our main line that the whole base is going to be built off of. What? Oh, it's a straggler gun turret I left out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, I had a really interesting conversation with my son the other day. And it kind of got me thinking, because it is like a gaming thing. I had asked him what he'd been playing recently, and he said Minecraft, which, you know, that's a pretty common thing. Pretty common game for kids to play nowadays. But what it got me thinking is that Minecraft was one of the first video games that he ever played. And he's still playing it. It's been around his entire life. That is the game that he's played his entire life. And I think back whenever I played my first video game, I'm not sure entirely how old I was, but I was fairly young. I'm wanting to say like maybe 5 or 6. And it was more that it wasn't more. I know a lot of kids start younger now, but it wasn't because, you know, my parents didn't want me playing video games or anything like that. It's like that's when video games were a thing. They weren't around before then. Yeah, and I've tried to look up exactly what the game is. I haven't been able to find it exactly. I found some things that are close, because video games, you know, it's not like they were. That was really before it was like a big commercial endeavor, right? And it's entirely possible that the first video game that I ever played was just on that computer. It was something that somebody just kind of thrown together. It was a game where you were basically like a helicopter, and you were flying around these skyscrapers, and we're talking, you know, early graphics. So you have to take that with a little bit of a creative license on what that helicopter must have looked like, and the buildings. But they were on fire, and you were basically going around in this helicopter and dropping water on them. And like I said, I was like 5 or 6, but I remember it so vividly. I want to say it was on a VIC-20, but I don't think that was. I don't think that's entirely accurate, because I don't know that the timeline lines up there. You know how memories are, especially mine. But you know, I think back to that, and then I think to the games that were out whenever I was a teenager. And just the difference, it's so significant. Just thinking here, let me look here real quick. Yeah, I mean, by that time you had Nintendos and Mortal Kombat was out. Wolfenstein, it just the difference between those games is just huge. We had a whole industry that came up. What was that sound? I was confused by what I was hearing. Oh, it must have been the combat robots blowing up. That would actually make sense. But yeah, to compare it to like his lifetime, I'd like to say that video games have changed a lot over the last 13, 14 years, and they have, but really? Have they? I mean, it seems like the gap is much less, I would say. I'm not sure why that is. I do know that it's becoming harder and harder for me to find newer games that I really enjoy playing. And I'm not sure what that's about. Let's see, how are we going to do this? Are we in artillery range? Yeah, surely we are. Oh, yeah, definitely. Let's just do it this way. You, and you. Is that it? Nope, that's a biter. Oh, okay, big base. Let's get back in the tank. What kind of gas do you have? Let's steal some of your gas. Feel kind of exposed, just hanging around with wood. Yeah, I don't know. It was just interesting because, you know, I was definitely not in a situation where I could play a game for, you know, 10, 12 years. That just wasn't a thing back then. Technology would change so rapidly. The little helicopter game where you were putting out, that wouldn't have held up in the mid early 90s as a game that would be marketable to well, anyone really. Yet Minecraft's been around, and, you know, how long has this game been around? I don't know. It seems like I play a lot of games that have been around for 10 or so years. Boy, look at all those worms up there. Look at all those worms not up there anymore. Let's see. Where are we at? This looks like it might be a good spot just to set up temporarily and set up one of our little artillery outposts and clear some of this stuff out. Yeah, no, I think about like my childhood and my gaming experience. You know, I started out with the helicopter game, and then shortly after that, the Atari came out, and I would play games on the Atari, things like I'm trying to think. Pitfall. I remember playing Pitfall, and of course the combat, those kind of games. You know, what was that? What was the game with the fly? Yars something. Yeah, that game and those. And then a little later, the Commodore 64 came out, and that was my first computer. And that was that's what I tell my kids, that, you know, I used to load computer programs on cassette tapes. Now that they know what a cassette tape is, and then tying that with a computer is weird. But that was when the big old floppies came out as well. I remember getting that drive. And I remember the loading screens that said, please wait 2 minutes for the game to actually load from the disc. Boy, we are going through the track, aren't we? But it was a lie, because it was never 2 minutes. It always seemed like it was way more than 2 minutes to get those things loaded up. But boy, yeah, a lot of fun games there. I remember spending a lot of time playing. And you know, that was where I remember the whole idea of like saving a game. You would make something called a save disk, and you could save your game on it for some games. There was a game called Mail Order Monsters, where you basically you would create a monster and upgrade it over time as it went off and did these like little combat duels with other monsters. It's fantastic. I'm wondering if it holds up even at all anymore. But boy, I like that game. And you could save your monster off, and you could take your save disk over to a friend's house if they had had the game, and you could load up your monster and fight their monster. And that was such a crazy thing, right? Even if you think back to like those old consoles, the idea of being able to like save off a game really changed a lot of things. All right, where are we at? We are right here. Let's pull this train up. Let's get some signals. Let's rename this to 0.1. And let's get our artillery train. Let's add that as a station. Let's make it a circuit condition for now. And yeah, you come here now. And let's throw some more radar down here. Yeah, no, it's just really kind of a weird, strange thing to think about. I think like Call of Duty's been around his whole life. All these things where I think about, you know, the early games of the Atari compared to the Commodore 64 games, compared to the games that were available when the first like you know, 386 computers came out. And the computers, the beige ones with a turbo button, that kind of stuff. It's just the differences between all those are just insane. What are you shooting at? Okay, yeah, you're just going to clear out all this stuff for us. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be glorious. Yeah, those old Commodore 64 games, and it's funny when you kind of think back to it. There was a game I remember called Jumpman, that pretty much, you know, was a very, very early ancestor of the platformer genre that kind of took off when later when Nintendo would come out. There was a game, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it had kind of the feel of like kind of like I hate to use the word like roguelike, but there's a lot of games out there kind of like Binding of Isaac, like that sort of like gameplay. There was a game out there that I played that was called that. Boy, I can't remember the name of it. It had the little glowy walls and all the little enemies, and you would go into between the box rooms. There was also a game on the Atari called Berserk that was kind of a very similar concept. But yeah, just weird that all these like cliche like genres were represented back then, and it's just kind of been built on since those days. But yeah, those were a big part of me growing up. And then there were the games like boy, some of the others that really hit me. The Ultima series, boy, I really like those games. I've spent who knows how many hours playing the Ultima stuff. all the way up to 7, I should say. Yeah, one and 2. Part 7, 1 and 2. After that, I didn't really play much until college came around, and that was about the time that Ultima Online came out. And yeah, I played me some of that. That was a very different thing. That was, I don't know if that was, I mean, there were other like online multiplayer games before that, definitely. I mean, that wasn't a new concept. But it was the first one that I played that was like that, and boy, it was so much fun, especially in the opening couple of months, opening couple of days, opening couple of weeks. It was a whole bunch of people that were, you know, just kind of thrown on this server, and like all the resources were low. You couldn't walk in between towns because people would kill you. I don't know. It was just an incredible experience, and then you know it kind of shaped itself and it got more controlled. But it was the Wild West back then, and it was fantastic. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I forgot even what I was talking about. Oh, Ultima. Now, why was I talking about Ultima and Ultima Online? No, I remember on that release day, I actually lived in a small town that was, well, it was a college town, and there weren't a lot of things going on in there. So I actually drove a couple of hours that morning to go to a, boy, I don't even remember what it was. Was it like a Babbage's or something like that? to go and get the game on release day. And they didn't have any copies, but as I was there, somebody actually canceled their pre-order. So I actually got it, but it was like very, 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 like a very, very tiny chance that would have happened. But I don't even know where I was going with that. But I liked that game. Let's see. Civilization, I've spent like millions of hours in that, like Civ 1 to Civ like maybe 4. I really enjoyed Civilization until I basically started watching people play on the internet and learning about how people were playing the game, and then I realized that I wasn't good at it. I thought I was good at it, but I wasn't good at it at all. And that's whenever that game kind of I realized that I was playing it wrong. I wasn't playing it like a strategy board game. Let's see, that's kind of concerning. Can we just turn you off? And let's run down and grab some more laser turrets. Let's see, what does that do to our artillery range? Can we get to some of these guys now? Okay, so there's a good wall opportunity right up there. I'd also like to go explore up in that area. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. That's okay. We'll throw a shell there. I had them. Oh, my robots were turned off. All right, that explains a lot. I must have done that manually for some reason. All right. Well, we probably needed to come back anyway because it probably needed some more railroad track, and yes, we did. Yeah, but I mean, I've been playing a lot of newer games lately, and I just can't find any that hold my interest. And even some of the games that I used to play a lot of, like RimWorld, They're just RimWorld. I like the game, and I just don't like doing YouTube series on the game, if that makes sense. It seems like, do we have any repair packs? We probably don't, do we? Do I have any in this train? That'd be a good thing to add. Can I make any? I can make 4. All right, it's not optimal, but it works. All right, let's blow some stuff up, should we? Yeah, and I don't think I've quite cinched down what it is that I makes me like a game. I mean, I guess, you know, there's generic things like I want replayability. That's a big thing. At least that's the ones I kind of go toward. But you know, people have made recommendations, and I've checked out a lot of those. I mean, I do like complex games. That is something that is a true statement. But there are some complex games that I don't like a game because it's complex. If that makes sense. There are complex games out there that I don't particularly enjoy. I used to love playing Crusader Kings 2, which some would consider a fairly complex game. A lot of stuff going on in it. EU4, I have it. I've played it. I never could get into it, and I'm not quite sure why that is. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And, you know, I love games like Dwarf Fortress. That's one of my all-time favorites. And I guess it's kind of complex. I don't really consider it complex anymore. Maybe it's just because I'm so familiar with it now that I don't think of it that way. But I don't know. There has been a Dwarf Fortress update, and I'm excited to play that. Because it's been a while since we've had a Dwarf Fortress series on the channel. It's one of those things that I'm just gonna let it go for a little bit, let it bake, let it simmer for a while, just to make sure that it's done. Are we out of ammunition? Did we shoot all of our artillery? It appears so. All right, go back. Oh no, that is funny. Just kind of plowed on through there. Okay, how long have we been going here? All right, a little bit over 30 minutes. Let's hop back in the tank real quick. We have some rocket fuel for you. I want to uncover some of this stuff down here. Yeah, like down here to the south, just to kind of see how the ocean moves, or the big lake, or whatever it is. Elder Scrolls games. Yeah, that's another big one. I remember when Daggerfall came out, and it was kind of an Ultima feeling game that was first person. And boy, looking back on that, it didn't age well. and I think back to that, but back in the day, it felt like such a big, huge game with so much stuff going on in it. Even though now, as I look back at it, I can see what was going on there, and it doesn't hold up well. But boy, back then that was incredible. And yeah, no, I've played all of those Elder Scrolls games. They are a fun guilty pleasure of mine. All right, so this looks like it's kind of curves around and goes to the south. And let's not run like right into the big giant thing here. Let's see, how much of this can be shot? Quite a bit of it, actually. And that's just from that turret over there. All right, well, that felt like we did a little bit of work here. We've cleared out some of this area up here. Yeah, I think we can definitely get a wall going up in this area, and that would be very helpful. And then maybe figure out what's going on over in that area and over here are going to be our next goals. We just ran into the power pole there. All right, well, let's take you back to base. Let's get our artillery train doing a regular schedule there. Let's make that the first one that you go to, and an activity. No circuit condition. All right, and I think that will be good for now. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will see you next time. Have a good one.